Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, in an unprecedented and historic move, United States President Donald Trump reversed decades of U.S. policy and recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Following Trump's declaration, Netanyahu seeks to reassure the Arab world, emphasizing Israel's commitment to maintaining the status quo in Jerusalem. Russian President Vladimir Putin said a complete victory had been achieved over the Islamic State on both banks of the Euphrates River in Syria. In an unprecedented and historic move, United States President Donald Trump reversed decades of U.S. policy and recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. In a speech at the White House, President Trump said his administration would also begin a process of relocating the U.S. Embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, a move that is expected to take several years.
Therefore, I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. While previous presidents have made this a major campaign promise, they failed to deliver. Today, I am delivering. I've judged this course of action to be in the best interests of the United States of America and the pursuit of peace between Israel and the Palestinians. This is a long overdue step to advance the peace process and to work towards a lasting agreement. Israel is a sovereign nation with the right, like every other sovereign nation.
While the president's recognition of Jerusalem was perceived by many leaders around the world as counterproductive to peace, Trump emphasized that his decision does not intend in any way to reflect a departure from Washington's strong commitment to facilitating a lasting peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians, while stressing that any solution to the decades-old Israeli-Palestinian conflict must be agreed upon by both sides through direct negotiations, including the fate of Jerusalem. Right after President Trump's declaration, the American leader signed a waiver to the Jerusalem Embassy Act, which effectively delays any concrete actions by 6 months. Nevertheless, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warmly welcomed Trump's decision, saying it reflects the president's commitment to an ancient but enduring truth, to fulfilling his promises and to advancing peace.
We're profoundly grateful for the president for his courageous and just decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and to prepare for the opening of the U.S. Embassy here. This decision reflects the president's commitment to an ancient but enduring truth, to fulfilling his promises, and to advancing peace. The president's decision is an important step towards peace, for there is no peace that doesn't include Jerusalem as the capital of the State of Israel.
Netanyahu further asserted that while many countries around the world attempt to dissuade recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital, the ancient city has been the focus of Jewish hopes, dreams, and prayers for 3 millennia.
Jerusalem has been the capital of the Jewish people for 3,000 years. It's been the capital of Israel for nearly 70 years. It was here that our temple stood, our kings ruled, our prophets preached. Jerusalem has been the focus of our hopes, our dreams, our prayers for 3 millennia. From every corner of the earth, our people yearn to return to Jerusalem, to touch its golden stones, to walk its hallowed streets. So it's rare to be able to speak of new and genuine milestones in the glorious history of this city.
Netanyahu also attempted to alleviate tension across the Arab world, emphasizing Israel's commitment to maintaining the status quo in Jerusalem, which practically means that only Muslims are permitted to worship on the Temple Mount, where both biblical temples once stood.
I also want to make clear, there will be no change whatsoever to the status quo at the holy sites. Israel will always ensure freedom of worship for Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike.
The United States has asked Israel to moderate its official response to the decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital due to fears of possible attacks on American installations and citizens in the Middle East and other regions. This message was included in a State Department document that also included instructions to the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv, the consulate in Jerusalem, and diplomatic delegations in some European capitals. The American representatives in Europe were asked to stress that President Trump's decision did not change the fact that the question of sovereignty in Jerusalem would only be resolved in permanent status agreement negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians. Nevertheless, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas condemned President Trump's decision, claiming it creates deliberate constraints to all the efforts toward realizing peace and reflects the United States' withdrawal from practicing its role as a peace mediator.
إن هذه الإجراءات المستنكرة والمرفوضة تشكل تقويضاً متعمداً لجميع الجهود المبذولة من أجل تحقيق السلام، وتمثل إعلاناً بانسحاب الولايات المتحدة من ممارسة الدور الذي كانت تلعبه خلال العقود الماضية في رعاية عملية السلام. كما أن هذه الإجراءات تمثل مكافأة لإسرائيل على تنكرها للاتفاقات وتحديها للشرعية الدولية وتشجيعا لها على مواصلة سياسة الاحتلال والاستيطان والأبارتايد والتطهير العرقي.
Meanwhile, Israel's security establishment is on a heightened state of alert in the wake of President Trump's declaration. The IDF has deployed troops to point of friction and other sensitive locations along the seam line. Units that were in training were instructed to be on standby because of the announcement by Palestinian organizations calling for days of rage and with a view of the Muslim Friday prayers tomorrow. A security official told TV7 that Israel is concerned that the growing tension will spark riots on Jerusalem's Temple Mount, which might then spread to Palestinian cities across the West Bank. He said that Israel's defense establishment has learned its lessons from previous incidents and has ordered the soldiers and border police to maintain restraint, even in the event of escalation and violence, so as to reduce as much as possible the number of Palestinian casualties and to prevent a further deterioration of the situation. Now, with regard to the ongoing conflict in Syria, where Russian President Vladimir Putin said a complete victory had been achieved over the Islamic State on both banks of the Euphrates River. In comments released by the Kremlin, Putin announced that the military operation in the area was now complete and that the focus would switch to a political process that would eventually involve presidential and parliamentary elections.
Министр обороны доложил, что операции на восточном и на западном берегу Евфрата завершены полным разгромом террористов. Естественно, еще могут быть отдельные очаги сопротивления, но в целом боевая работа на этом этапе и на этой территории закончена. Закончена полной, повторяю, победой и разгромом террористов.
Putin did not specify whether he was referring to the end of military operations in the whole of Syria or just the areas around the Euphrates Valley. Russia's military intervention in Syria's civil war in 2015 has turned the tide of the conflict in favor of Moscow's ally, Syrian President Bashar Assad, and against rebel groups and jihadists fighting to oust him. Thank you for joining us. Keep praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Yair Pinto. Have a good evening, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.
In order to donate to TV7 Israel News, please follow these simple steps. First, press the Donate logo located at the bottom left side of TV7 Israel News Facebook page, or on the Donate tab at the head of the page. Then insert the amount you'd like to donate, and fill in your credit card information. Just like this. And press Review Donation and continue. After reviewing your donation details, please press Donate to finalize your donation. That's it! Your donation is now complete, and an email with your donation details has been sent to your email address. You can also print your donation receipt by pressing the link here. Thank you for supporting TV7 Israel News.